Hey, what's up, guys? Tyler here with Secure Team. I have an entire set of footage for you guys to look at, some really amazing stuff. I've been a little busy over the past couple of days, so that's the reason behind me not getting as many videos up, but that's done with now, so we can get back to business at hand, and we'll have our regular uploads as we do. So this first piece of footage that you saw and are seeing was emailed to me by a viewer who basically said that there's some very strange things going on over Brisbane, Australia. And if you've watched our most recent video, there has been a lot of strange things happening over Australia, and England as well. A lot of UFO activity happening near the coasts, where we have these UFOs that on several occasions, both in England and in Australia, we've tracked these objects on radar coming from the ocean. In some cases, they've been tracked by fighter jets. And now we have this new footage taken from the Australian Point Halloran weather cam, which I will put the link to down in the video description. And the viewer was reviewing this webcam nighttime footage, and then all of a sudden we see this massive glowing object coming through the sky, and as it gets closer to the camera, you can see that it increases in brightness by at least tenfold. I mean, this thing goes from small light to giant light before jetting off and upwards. You see at the very end, just before the object disappears, it obviously changes speed dramatically. And as you see in this last frame here before the object disappears, you can see that it dramatically changes its speed, increases its speed, and jets upwards. And you can actually see a trail left behind, which you don't see as the object is coming in the distance up towards the camera. But at the very end, we see it brighten very quickly and cast a massive bright reflection on the ground below before jetting off to the point where it completely blurs, and goes out of focus on the camera. And you know, this is not the first time we've seen these bright objects all over the world. And they will vary in their degrees of brightness, and they will have sudden flashes of light just before they jet off. It's almost as if they're going into like hyper speed, which brings me to my next clip. Actually, we'll get to that in just a second, but there's a very common denominator about all of the clips I'm going to show you here, which is what I like to call a plasma discharge. Now, a lot of these UFOs and these crafts that we've seen, whether they've been the ones that we've caught in thunderstorms or in space on the ISS cam, basically, some of these UFOs will instantaneously disappear, or it looks like they possibly time jump or jump into some sort of warp speed, and when they do, they leave behind a bright flash of light, and leading up to it, they also increase their brightness, much like you're seeing in this footage here. You get a very quick and bright increase in the light coming from these things before they jet off, just as this UFO is doing here. So it's definitely some amazing footage over Point Halloran, Queensland, Australia. Now this brings us to the next clip that we received just 2 days ago, captured over Columbia, South Carolina. And we'll go ahead and let you watch that video now, and we'll come back and talk about it in just a minute. Some amazing footage. So as you just saw, the source of the footage was driving home and saw outside of his left window, the driver's side window, what he thought was a blimp or possibly just an odd-shaped cloud. But the cloud was extremely dark, and it was in the shape of a disc. And he basically said that it materialized. He looked over, and he slowly started. He said it was odd because he thought at first that it was a cloud just materializing, but as it became more clear, he said it took on a metallic gray saucer shape and was following along with the car. And you can actually see in the video, it does depict sort of what I like to call an anti-gravity wobble. And it's very subtle. But in a lot of this footage where we have these anti-gravity craft, they will have a slight, especially in saucer footage. And we've actually heard government insiders speak about this, as well as Bob Lazar, who allegedly worked on some of these back-engineered alien craft at Area 51 and S4. And yeah, the source basically said that when this thing appeared, it was obviously defying gravity, it had no wings, and the moment he began recording, the object almost instantly disappears. He's able to catch a short clip of it before, once again, this thing looks to dematerialize. And you can actually see in the footage, this thing looks like it cloaks itself. Because you can see that this thing begins to become invisible, but you can still see, in the invisibility, you can still see the outline of this object. If you guys have ever seen the Predator films, where he has an invisibility type shield that he puts up, but you can basically still see the outline and some distortion. And that's what we're seeing here. This thing begins to disappear, but you can see the distortion effect against the blue background, and you can still clearly see the outline of the object before once again, and as I talked about in our earlier clip, we see this again, what I like to refer to as a plasma discharge. We see this very quick, bright flash of light, just as this thing finally dematerializes and disappears. Now, of course, planes and drones have lights on them, but this was not a plane. It's obviously not a plane or a drone. Drones don't just simply disappear. They don't dematerialize, as this thing obviously does. I mean, you can see that it's cloaking itself. And I only say that because you can see the outline of it. Once it's basically invisible, you can definitely see the outline as we zoom in here for you. And we see this bright blue flash. Again, very common with some of these crafts when they disappear, or they're jumping into a warp speed and they're gone so quickly that it simply looks like they're vanishing into thin air, but they're actually jumping and flying away at such a high rate of speed that we basically just can't see it. And, the source was completely shocked. You can actually hear him talking in the video. It's a bit hard because the music was so loud. But, this thing completely shocked him, and he didn't even believe what he had seen until he got home and watched the video again, because he thought he had been mistaken, and that there had to be a legitimate reason for this object and for this flash of light. But as he reviewed the video, he saw exactly what he had seen in person, which is this saucer-shaped object, which looks to be following along, or at least flying along. I'm not sure if it's necessarily following him, but following along before vanishing, and we see this bright blue flash. So it's some amazing footage. He got it out to us, and any of you guys out there in the Columbia, South Carolina area have seen something similar or saw this particular craft, please send me an email. All my info is down in the video description. You can contact me, email me with your own footage, because we like to corroborate these sightings, and often we will have multiple people seeing them. But sometimes these craft are so tricky, and they only appear momentarily that, we're lucky if even one person sees them, and often they don't. But every now and then we get an amazing clip like this where they are caught on film, and that's simply because more people are waking up, more people are watching the skies and having their cameras ready. So again, amazing footage. Now, lastly, I want to show you this clip here, which was sent to me by another viewer who was reviewing and by the way, I will post the links to these videos down below, which were uploaded by the original sources on YouTube. And our last video that we want you to look at today was sent to us by Mr. Scott Wagner, who is actually a retired police officer and is now a photographer and a skywatcher. And he sent me a link to his own personal YouTube channel, which I'll put the link to down below also. And he was checking the allskycams.com webcam video over Brazil, and he found this triangular shaped UFO up in space, sort of blending in with the stars. And as he described in his email, and as you're seeing, you can see these three corners that look to be flashing. And if you actually look down to the bottom right corner, you will see a fourth light begin flashing and appear to pull away from this triangle and these other three lights. And you can actually see this light flash and change color. And I mean, as you're seeing, it's definitely a triangular shape. And again, we have the three dots in the sky, the three lights making the shape of a triangle, which we've captured and posted on numerous times in other pieces of video footage, where we will again have these 3 lights in the sky creating a triangle moving through the sky. We've posted numerous pieces of footage on this. I like to call them TR3Bs, whether they're from off planet or they're one of ours. The jury's still out. But this is certainly not the first time that we have posted on footage capturing these objects, which again seem invisible to the naked eye, but they do have these 3 corner lights, which is the only thing that would even let you know that these objects are up there. And sometimes you see them. And so we want to thank Mr. Wagner for sending this in. We've posted a lot of interesting things caught in space lately. We recently posted some new space shuttle footage from a 1996 STS mission showing objects moving and maneuvering, obviously under intelligent control, as well as the International Space Station footage that we've posted recently showing various crafts, saucers, triangular-shaped objects, cigar-shaped objects, and these things are up there, and NASA will continue to deny their existence. However, we all know better than that. So, again, you be the judge. 3 amazing pieces of footage here. Let me know what you guys think. Be sure to share, like, and subscribe on your way out. I'm just astounded by some of this footage here, especially the first 2 clips, showing the object over Brisbane and the saucer-shaped craft cloaking itself. I mean, it is simply amazing. So I have no doubt we will have the NASA trolls here on the channel in no time to give us their thoughts, as they always do, and create a clever cover story or give us a natural reason of why these things have occurred, whether it be, you know, a drone or swamp gas, what have you. So I'll eagerly be awaiting those. And for everyone else here, thanks for watching. And if you have your own footage, send it in and we'll get it out there. So stick around, we've got a lot more coming, and we'll see you back soon.